I'm full now, James said to Maya. He was working on the knot to take down the shelter. They had finished all the food and now were completing the task of taking down the camp. Who told you to eat so much after waking up? Maya laughed. Turning his head to look at Maya, James said, If we didn't eat all the food, then we'd have to just throw it away. Maya was carefully folding up her tarp after taking it down. She looked at James and said, Don't make it sound like such a big issue. The amount of food that was left over by the time you woke up wasn't enough to pack away. Even Mim said that we'd have thrown it out and let the animals and monsters take care of it. After folding up the tarp, Maya placed it into a pack. She then moved to take care of the ropes, but with her experienced hands, it wasn't much time before they were neatly bundled and stored where the other ropes were all placed. James began folding up the tarp after undoing all the knots. Similar to Maya, he didn't need much time before the components of the shelter were placed in the respective storage areas in the pack. He picked up the pack and put it on his back, making sure to tighten the straps. With the armor that he was wearing, it didn't make putting on and taking off the pack a significant issue. He appreciated how the guild had hooked him up with the superior gear. He looked to see that Maya was ready as well. Instead of being on her back, the quiver was attached to the side. It allowed her to be mobile while also providing easy access to the arrows. The bow was even stored so that it could be quickly in her hands when needed. But this way, Maya would be able to use her hands when they weren't in a situation that required her to be alert for monsters. With it being early morning, the sun only risen a couple of hours ago, James was able to see much farther into the forest. Only the trees restricted his line of sight. Looks like things are good, Maya said as she pointed into the forest. James looked to see where Maya pointed and noticed a small herd of deer going about their day. Glad to know that there aren't any monsters nearby, Maya said. Yeah, with the wildlife going about their day, we won't need to be as cautious about being attacked, James smiled. It was always good to know that monsters weren't going to be an issue. The forest was massive, which provided plenty of opportunities to encounter monsters. It was better to have a mental break. In the future, they'll need to be alert and use up their stamina while looking out for dangers. New adventurers had trouble finding when it was okay to be relaxed and when it was time to be focused. They tended to not know that seeing animals going about their business meant that monsters weren't in close proximity. If monsters were an issue, then there was no need to waste energy looking for a threat that didn't exist. The two of you ready? Adam walked up to them. He had his pack placed on his back. His eyes flickered to the deer before returning to look at James and Maya. James nodded. Yep. Everything all set? Aside from wisps of smoke, evidence of the camp was removed. The pots and portable grill were already stored. Even the wooden tripods which the wolves hung from were taken down.